that influence all of our lives. Father, I just pray that you will be with each one of our leaders, city, county, state, federal. Lord, we pray, oh God, that they would seek your guidance. And then I pray that you will be with the candidates who are seeking office in the near future. Likewise, that they would seek your guidance. Father, I do not want to forget our military, who gives some of them the ultimate sacrifice by giving their lives for this country. We see many that have given parts of their bodies on behalf of this country and our freedom. Father, I pray that you would just help us, each one, to turn to you for guidance, not only in election time, but every day. We need your guidance. We need your love. And Father, now I want to thank you for this food. I pray that you will just bless the hands that have prepared the food. And we ask that you just give us your blessings. Lead, guide, and direct us that everything we say and do might be pleasing to thee. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Blanche. All right, so I'm going to ask all of our candidates to come up and take a seat here. We have a little row for the candidates. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good grief. Thank you. I was moved by Blanche's prayer. I got sidetracked. All right, so everybody, if we could, the people at the buffet, just try to keep it down if you would. File into your seats. But we're going to get this started because I want you to be able to hear as much substance from the candidates as possible. Do we have any elected officials? I know we have Sid Dinerstein, who's ex-chairman of our county party. And do we have any others? It's hectic. I may have missed somebody. No others today. All right, couple of items. There's going to be no open microphone at the end today for the candidates that are going to be up here for the meeting. So just so you know, you all got my eye on you. You're not coming up again. Second, as we go through the announcements here, a few important things. We amended our mission statement. Rob Shannon proposed a couple months ago, and it was right, and leadership voted on this and approved it unanimously, that we need to really streamline our mission statement. So you'll see our new one on your announcement there. It's just designed to kind of drill down on exactly what we're trying to do as a club. I want to announce that we have a continued open invitation, both if anybody wants to join our leadership, and it's election season now, and so if anybody wants to come out and join the club, if you all have any friends, I would encourage everybody to see if you could bring one guest every meeting. Can you imagine what we could do for our club if everybody could bring one single guest? Just think about that, and if you could, see if you can bring some people with you. I also want to announce that I have a friend here today. It's Mitt Romney. It's Mitt Romney, everybody. Thanks to Carol LaPlaca. And I have another friend here, an elephant, which is going to be going in my office, also Carol LaPlaca, so thank you. Upcoming events. Several things. A couple of upcoming events. January 27th, Peter Feynman's PAC is having an event. It's a PAC that's intended to promote the Republican candidates down at the Boca Raton Marriott. If you all are interested in attending, reach out to me or reach out to Peter or his PAC directly. January 31st, there's a clay shoot for Place of Hope. Some of you all were here in December, and you know Place of Hope is my favorite organization of all time. They care for the highest need children in Palm Beach County, and they're having a fundraiser. If you're interested in that, just let me know, and I'll get you sent to the right place. February 21st, the Lincoln Day Dinner. It's our primary fundraiser for the year. Important event. We need the support. We're going to have Senator Ted Cruz there as the keynote speaker. February 26th. Maybe the most excited I've ever been about one of our meetings. That's next month's meeting. It's going to be Federalism in Action is the title. We're going to talk about, and we're going to have two speakers that are going to talk about the ways that the states can do for themselves better than what Washington can do for us. That's the defining principle that defines conservatives. We want government closer to home. We're going to have the Department of Environmental Protection Secretary Herschel Vineyard talk about the way that the state of Florida is doing a better job of managing its own environmental resources than what Washington can do for us. And we're also going to have, tentatively but almost confirmed, Bob McClure, who's the president of the James Madison Institute up in Tallahassee. He's going to talk about the same topic as it applies to education. Very important topics, very good meeting, I think it's going to be. And then tentatively we have Adam Putnam, who's the Commissioner of Agriculture, potential future leader for the state of Florida. He's going to talk to us tentatively in March. That's it for your announcements. So on to the main event. We have 5 of the 6 candidates who are vying for the District 18 congressional seat. We had 1 cancellation at the last minute, so you have 5 out of the 6 Republicans in this field. District 18 runs through the northern part of Palm Beach County, up into Martin County, and it runs up into St. Lucie County. The seat is currently held by Patrick Murphy. Patrick Murphy's a Democrat. Anybody who knows Patrick Murphy is a very impressive guy. He's young, he's charismatic, he has a perception that he's trying to work on both sides of the aisle. This is going to be a very tough race, and it's very important that we get engaged. So for each of us, whichever candidate we decide to support, I think it's important that we all do it. And we have today the candidates that are vying for that seat and are committing themselves to helping us win that seat back as a party. I want to give a few ground rules so there's no confusion here. The first and most important is this. We're going to be under a very tight time constraint. If you see me interrupt a candidate, they have the rules for the amount of time for each question, and I'm going to cut them off at the appropriate time if they run over. It's necessary to make sure that they all get a fair shake. If a candidate runs over his or her time, they're going to forfeit their time on the next question. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm being rude, but this is an important part of moving this forward on the right timeline. The order of the speakers was just determined at random by drawing numbers, so completely random there. And I'll just say this, that this election has got to be about substance. And we've encouraged all of our speakers to speak as specifically as possible about the substance of what they want to do if they win this election. So I hope you all think about that, and I hope you all consider that as you're making your decisions here. And with that in mind, I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to ask each question. I'm going to announce the length of time, and then we're going to call up our speakers in the order that they were predetermined. The first question is this. For each of you, bear with me. For each of you, why do you believe that you can defeat Patrick Murphy, and why do you believe you stand the best chance of doing so among your field? That is, how are you going to differentiate yourself from Patrick Murphy in the general election? And the predetermined order we're going to start with Calvin Turnquist.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you all for coming out today for this event. The question is, I think, what makes me the best candidate? What makes me think I can defeat Patrick Murphy in the general election? Well, I think that when it comes to articulating the issues, representing the people of this district, the Treasure Coast of Palm Beach County, someone who has worked in this county and lived here since I came here from the Bahamas. Patrick Murphy is new to the area. He moved here, has no idea what's going on. He's starting to learn the issues, but we don't need someone who's doing on-the-job training here in the district. We need someone who is knowledgeable, someone who works at the local level, someone who understands the issues, and someone who can articulate that in the general election. Now, the question, again, is what makes me think that I'm the better candidate to represent this district? I believe, with my experience and my knowledge, that I am the one candidate who can inspire, motivate, and encourage the next generation of Republicans not only to think less about themselves and more about community, but to get involved in the party and stay with the party and move the party forward in the 21st century. I consider myself a 21st century Republican. And what does that mean? That means that I believe that I am the one who can rally this party, be a new face of this party, of this nation, and take us to the 21st century. We cannot continue to practice 19th century politics and expect to beat the Democrats. We cannot think that we're going to take a page out of their playbook and use that against them to defeat them in the general election. They know that playbook. They know the strengths and weaknesses of it. So what we need to do is be forward-thinking and articulate our message in a way that's going to be received by the general public and by conservatives and Republicans alike. So taking a page out of Democrats' playbook is a losing strategy. Campaigning like we did in the 20th century is a losing strategy. For all of us who follow football, and I'm a football player, congratulations, Carl, Florida State. But when you look at this and you look at, thank you very much.
Next candidate is Carl Domino.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. The question is, why am I best to be Patrick Murphy? Let me explain why I am. Let's go back to 2006, the year the Democrats took control of the House, the year that we were embroiled in Iraq. Up in the North County, we had a little issue with our congressman, and I was widely expected to be defeated by a gentleman named Brian Miller. Brian's Democratic friends, James Carville, etc., spent almost $800,000. They called me a tax thief. They said I was trying to ruin people that had not made it. They said I was a rich person who did not understand the issues. Everyone in the state was sure that I was going to lose. But you guys were sure I was going to win, and I did win by over 2,000 votes. I'm the only one that has fought a very difficult campaign against a Democrat and defeated that Democrat. I am also the only one, I think, in this whole race that has served in the U.S. military. And when Patrick Murphy votes to cut pension benefits to the military, you can be certain I will make an issue of that. Every candidate will probably talk about cutting taxes, including Patrick Murphy, who's voted innumerably to raise taxes. And I created the biggest tax cut in the history of the state of Florida with affordability. But regardless of what the issue is, I'm going to answer it as a constitutional conservative. We have an application by the House of Representatives to the President of the United States. You are 100 times more likely to be sued by an administrative agency of the President than you are by the DOJ for violating the statute. And when we talk about Obamacare, we will talk about everything that every other candidate will talk about. But we will harken back to the first article, which is the House of Representatives' duties, and the seventh section, which says every revenue-raising bill must originate in the House of Representatives. This bill did not originate in the House, and therefore, I think procedure is illegal. I am the best candidate because I will be the best knowledgeable about the issues. Thank you very much.
Our third candidate is Alan Schlesinger.
Good afternoon. I was a little nervous when I saw this lineup here. I'm glad it's not February 14th because this has a little bit of reminiscent of the St. Valentine's Day murder. So that was a little scary. But I'm glad we're here, and I want to thank Rick, the committee, for hosting this forum. Today we begin the process of selecting our next congressman, because I'm here to tell you that we are going to win in November. 2014 is the perfect year for someone who gets health care in the economy. Our friends and neighbors are not asking for miracles. They just want some common sense leadership with common sense solutions. Let me read your quote. I especially like the exchanges. More openness, more transparency, which will help to bring down costs. And most recently, get this, mend it, don't end it. What do you think? Who do you think made these comments? Really? You're correct. It's your congressman. Now, how's for differentiating myself, which was a question from Patrick Murphy? I think this legislation is the most dangerous government overreach in our nation's history, and we must be ready with market-driven solutions that change it today. Look, for me, this race is deja vu, and let me tell you why. Give you a little story. In my first run for the legislature, I ran against a very popular Democrat incumbent in a swing district. Sound familiar? Anyway, he was the grandson of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and a congressman. His father was a Superior Court senior judge. His name was P.V. O'Sullivan II. The island in my district was the O'Sullivan Island. The courthouse in my district was the O'Sullivan Courthouse. Hell, I lived on O'Sullivan Road. True story. Bottom line, we surprised him with an upset by leading the ticket in the minority sections of the district, and that's what I hope to deliver for you this November. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Ilya Katz.
Thank you. I hope it is not made in China. It is a pleasure to be here, and I hope after some nice lunch you will easily digest my English. I have full intention to win over Patrick Murphy because I possess, read my curriculum vitae, superior intelligence, superior education, and for sure superior and quite bad life experience. I believe that we Republicans have to go as seeds with our knowledge, with our truth, to soil of the general population. And we have to blossom together as flower of the victory in the right direction. Therefore, I organize Liberty Forum. Welcome tomorrow. You will see very unusual movie, Liberty Without License. Americanization of the Soviet Union was a milestone, but Sovietization of America will be our gravestone. I will try to put turntable on Patrick Murphy to show what they did for country. They destroy family, children have no future, our education is a joke. What they did with medicine, what they did in city of Detroit, what next will be city of Chicago, that's all they did. I will try to help them responsible. Thank you for your attention. I'm a satirical sharpshooter. I'm not taking prisoners, and I will do my best. Thank you.
Our last candidate is Ellen Andel.
Good afternoon. Democrats present themselves as champions of the powerless and the underdogs, while they cast Republicans as oppressors and enemies of hope. Democrats accuse Republicans of imaginary crimes, waging a war on women, depriving poor children of food, not caring about minorities, inflicting pain on working Americans to benefit the wealthy. Murphy will not get very far using these tactics with me. He cannot say I am waging a war on women. I am a woman, and I want a war for women so that we can have opportunities. He cannot say that I would deprive poor children of food. I am a mother. He cannot say I am inflicting pain on hardworking American taxpayers to benefit the wealthy, because I am the hardworking taxpayer, and he is the millionaire. He cannot talk about income inequality. Murphy is a single, 30-year-old multimillionaire. He does not know about making ends meet. He does not know the hard work it takes to put food on the table and gas in the tank. I do. He does not know about finding money to put your children through college so they can pursue the American dream. I do. He does not know about paying medical bills for a family when we are the ones paying for his health care. Since most policy issues are complicated, Voters want to know, above everything else, just whom they can trust to sort out the complexities and represent them. Before voters cast their ballots for policies, they want a candidate and a party that cares about them. People want someone who can relate to the challenges they are facing in daily life. Murphy is clearly not that person. I am. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. All right, question number 2. 3 minutes per answer, please. Please give us 3 specific issues facing our nation which you believe that you can most effectively influence if you're elected to office. Same order. Calvin Turnquist first, please.
3 issues. 1, immigration. I am an immigrant. First generation. I know what it takes to go through the process, do it correctly, do it right. And I have no sympathy for someone who comes here illegally and try to take advantage of our economy in our country. So that's one thing I know out of all of us here that I can articulate on, and I can work for, and I can champion. 2, the Affordable Care Act. I've been in the healthcare industry for over 18 years. My wife is a physician. We know what it can do, and we know what it will not do. The Affordable Care Act, that term alone is an oxymoron. Not because a moron created it, but because it's an oxymoron. Okay? 1, it's not affordable. 2, it's not for healthcare. It cannot be for healthcare when you're hiring more IRS agents than doctors are willing to use it. So it's a tax. It's not affordable care. Okay? It does not address why the cost of healthcare is increasing. It does not address tort reform. It does not address the abuse of Medicare. It does not address the duplication of procedures. It does not address several things that really is the reason why healthcare is increasing. 3rd, and I know most of us here have small businesses or have small businesses, but that's one thing I want to address also. Small businesses. There's a reason why small business owners, when they sell their business, are afraid to reinvest in their community or even start another business. It's called the capital gains tax. And I know when I sold my business and my wife sold hers, we were hit so hard with the capital gains tax that we refused to reinvest and start another business because we knew what was going to happen. So I have small business experience, I have intimate knowledge of healthcare, and I have intimate knowledge of immigration. So those are the 3 things that I want to work on when I get to Congress. Thank you.
Second candidate, Carl Donner.
Thank you very much. I answered a little bit last question. One of the issues, every candidate is going to talk about Obamacare. I would be glad to answer any questions about that. It's not a health care bill. It's not an insurance bill. It's a redistribution of income bills, and I am going to talk about taxes. But I've concluded, although I will work as hard as I can to make sure that the worst parts of it are repealed, it's not funded. The fact of the matter is, until we capture the White House in 2016, we're going to be fighting a battle of just defensiveness. So let me tell you about the 3 issues that I'm going to talk about in the campaign and work on in the Congress. And the first is the reason why we formed our government in the late 1700s was to provide for the national defense. It used to be, as Alan West has said, 50-60% of our Congress people have served in the military. Many of you do not know me. I served 20 years, including a year in Vietnam. So I guess I think I'm the only candidate that really understands what it means to cut the pension benefits that we contracted with our soldiers. I'll give you a quick story of what it means to be in the military. I know the colonel knows, many of you have served does. It means a job that's not 9 to 5, a job that goes 24 hours a day. It means uprooting your family every 3 years to move. And worst of all, it means your spouse is at home, panicked about the day. She looks up the driveway and there's 2 uniformed officers walking to tell her that her loved one has been killed in the line of duty. Only a military guy can feel what it means to be in the military, and I am one. We're going to talk about jobs. Jobs is the biggest problem we have. If you saw the report last week, 74,000 new jobs. We need about 150,000 just to break even. 62.8% labor participation rate. If you take the farm labor participation rate and you take the unemployment rate and add them together, the U6 number, it comes out to roughly 13%. That's almost depression levels. And many of those jobs being created are part-time or temporary jobs. Go ask the average voter out there. When Murphy says this administration has created a lot of jobs, the average voter is going to say no to that. And just today I'm reminded in the paper that we've created jobs for our constituents. For example, we're about ready to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Scripps Research Institute, which has created over 500 jobs. And while he wants to claim he's a small businessman, his daddy built him a business and he left it after a year and a half. I started a job right up the street here, created dozens of high-paying jobs, so I know what it is to create jobs. And finally, taxes. We've got to do 2 things with our tax structure. It's got to be more broad. I have no problem with a progressive tax system, but I do have a problem with a system in which many, many people pay no taxes. Because if they pay no taxes, they don't understand. And finally, there's about $2 trillion overseas that could be brought back to America if we could fix our corporate tax structure. Thank you very much.
Third candidate, Alan Schlesinger.
Listen, I could talk to you about some of my ideas on tax reform and making the code less onerous, or Murphy's misguided foreign policies under the Pelosi-Feinstein gang, but I only have 3 minutes. So therefore, my 3 issues are Obamacare, Obamacare, and Obamacare. And I'm not just talking about the website, ladies and gentlemen. This whole rollout would be comical if it wasn't so serious. Last week's confirmation that anyone's personal information is totally at risk, 100% unsecured, is just frightening. The administration doesn't even have the back office set up yet to take the payments from the website to the insurance companies and to move the tax credits to the IRS. Just like with Obama phones and food stamps, believe it or not, the tax credits and the setup for Medicaid is on your honor, with, of course, retroactive auditing by our good friends at the IRS. And we all know where that's going. I won't even get into the frightening consequences for our seniors when those restrictions kick in on health care down the line and later in the decade. So here's the latest numbers. Only 24% of the sign-ups are 18 to 35-year-olds. That means there's going to be a trigger for an insurance company bailout by us, the taxpayers. The majority of the sign-ups are for Medicaid. Surprise, surprise. Ironically, most of the uninsured are, guess what? Still uninsured. Exactly. Except now they're joined by millions who have had their insurance canceled. Not to mention, those lucky enough who still have their policies have had massive rate increases. And this is only the dress rehearsal for next year, when approximately 100 million Americans are going to receive their cancellation notices. This unprecedented government overreach must be answered with a swift response, because let me tell you what's going to happen. This thing's going to implode next year, and the Democrats are going to say it's the insurance company's fault, and they're going to be standing there waiting with single-payer national health care. That's when we have to be there. That's why I'm running for Congress, to make sure we are there with that alternative of market-driven solutions with HSAs leading the way. That's health savings accounts. Let's be clear. Obamacare was never about health care. As Carl said, it was put in as a government overreach to do income redistribution with 17% of our economy. Look, you got it. Look, in 2009, the Democrats stuff this down our throats. This November, I say we stick it up their ballot box.
Next candidate, Ilya Katz, please.
I have also 3 issues. Number 1, I was a good student of the greatest American conservative economist, Milton Friedman, and I studied serious theory, how to pick up economy. So my idea, Milton Friedman idea, evaluate our economy up. How? Eliminate all taxation for businesses and corporations. It will bring us back to American individualism. It will raise much more money for government. Reagan and Kennedy showed this on small scale. And will reduce unemployment and also will raise salary. America will start to be country of achievement. Today, sorry, we're on 12th place in economical freedom. The second, one serious problem that nobody wants to know. United States of America fell behind of our security. How about cyber war? What we are doing? We are doing not enough. How about energy grid, which can kill at least 20% of Americans in 6 months, mostly elderly and children? We have to pay serious issue and raise this issue to bet a lot of people, our representatives, who sit in the comfortable chairs with one hand in pocket of constituencies, another hand in the pocket of lobbyists, keep science. Armageddon coming. Reagan said, don't be scared, be prepared. And I will add, be aware. And my third thing, all America speaking, repeal Obamacare. They count money, they count effectiveness. Don't forget, the previous series, the system of Medicare was only 35, but effectiveness in the whole world. It's also not solution. We need to repeal and we need to replace. We have to give people usable, sensible alternative. And my last small question, guys, I don't understand. Okay, Obama survived. Thank you.
Next candidate, Ellen Andel.
One issue facing the nation, which I believe I can effectively influence, is our lack of fiscal responsibility. A few years ago, I grew so frustrated with the way elected officials were spending our tax dollars. I figured the only way I could influence the tax rate in my community was to be one vote on the town council. So I ran for and won a seat on the Juno Beach Town Council. Throughout 5 years of ever-decreasing property tax revenues, I worked with my colleagues. We made tough cuts. We lowered the tax rate. We balanced our budgets, and we paid off our debt. Juno Beach is debt-free. In my personal life, my husband and I paid off our mortgage last year. And it's not because we're wealthy. We're far from it. But we set a goal. We worked hard. We lived within our budget so that we could be debt-free. Businesses must balance budgets. Families must balance budgets. Washington should do the same. And we can do the same if we elect leaders like myself who are committed to fighting for fiscal responsibility. Another issue facing our district that I believe I can effectively influence is the problem with Lake Okeechobee. This is a critically important economic and environmental issue. Patrick Murphy got very lucky last year when our area had record rainfall, requiring the release of water from Lake Okeechobee and causing problems in the St. Lucie estuary. He has used this issue to gain widespread support. And despite all his grandstanding on the issue, he has not delivered results or obtained funding. As a Republican member in a Republican House, I could be more effective in getting what our district needs. Lastly, I believe the most profound issue facing our nation is the selfishness of our public servants, who have become an elite ruling class that make rules that apply to us, but not to them. The majority of politicians these days are driven by their own needs, their own wants and interests, not America's, not the people that they were elected to serve. George Mason said, "Nothing so strongly impels a man to regard the interests of his constituents than the certainty of returning to the general mass of the people from whence he was taken, where he can participate in their burdens." I do not aspire to be a career politician. I believe in term limits. I want to go to D.C., do my part to serve my country and the people of District 18, and then come home. I am not a politician who is worried about the next election. I am a leader who is worried about the next generation.
Question number 3, important question here. Specifically, what sets you apart from the rest of this Republican field? Same order.
I thought that was quite obvious.
That's funny.
How about that?
Yeah, just start.
Well, that was a loaded question. Okay, I know my time is running. When I look at this crowd and I see the trailblazers here, those of you who have fought that good fight and walked that good walk, and those of you who are the Reagan Republicans, and my generation, the generation that comes after me, we can watch those videos and see who and what Reagan stands for and who Reagan was. But as far as really, truly feeling what it means to be a Reagan Republican, my generation, the generation after us, we don't know. We don't have that Republican leader who we can aspire to be like. You did. You do. You are Reagan Republicans. So when I stand up here and I ask myself, what can I do to motivate and inspire the next generation to want to be involved in politics and involved in their community? I think that I am the one who can lead the next generation into the 21st century. And I think this is why I say to you that I am a 21st century Republican. And when this is all said and done, and I am too tired to continue to fight and I want to pass the torch on to the next generation, I want them to come up and say, I want to be a turn-push Republican. That's what I'm fighting for. I believe out of all of us here, I am the one who is uniquely qualified to grow this party. When I hear you talk about diversifying the party, and you talk about minorities and using that term, when you talk about people of color, using the term minorities is an insult. So if you're trying to go, you need to know the people you're trying to reach if you want to bring them to the party. So you cannot think that you know, live it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The curious thing about that question is actually 2 and 3 are similar in terms of rhetoric. If you've heard Patrick Murphy speak, he could have taken the place of Beverly Hires, and he would have said most of the same things Republicans. You're going to have to distinguish yourself not by your rhetoric, but what you've done. what you've done, because everyone's going to talk about getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, but I'm the only one that spent months trying to fight digital domain up in St. Lucie County. They remember me for that. Because I understood the numbers, and I understood it was a bankruptcy that was going to happen, and that's why we have so much support up there. And we're all going to talk about jobs, but I'm the only one that came down in 87, started a company with 4 employees, built it to 50, sold to a big bank. I'm the only one that was on the plane to Laguna and helped bring Scripps, which, along with my Torrey Pines, created over 1,000 jobs. That's an accomplishment, not a rhetorical statement. And finally, when it comes to taxes, everybody wants to lower taxes. But as you know, I initiated a concept, developed it myself, based on some input I was getting from constituents. Unfortunately, even the Republican legislature had to fight 6 years for it, called portability. And today, all over this district, indeed the state, as people move out of the house they didn't want to live in, and got the freedom to move where they were, their tax rate is lowered because of portability. Once again, not talking about doing something, but doing something. And doing something in the case of portability, where almost every Republican and every Democrat supported. And when it was on the ballot, because it was a constitutional amendment, I don't know if everyone voted for it, I hope you did, but 67% of the people in this district voted for portability. So at the end of the day, it's not about your rhetoric, it's about what you've done, and we've done the things that have helped people live a better life in the state of Florida.
Thanks again. What sets me apart from the GOP field? Well, that's what we're here to decide. I, for one, will follow Reagan's 11th commandment and not attack a fellow Republican. Murphy and the Democrats are going to keep me busy enough. I want to commend Carl for his military service, Alan and Calvin for their public service, and Ilya for his sense of humor. Simply put, I think I have the best shot at this thing because I've been able to take out Democratic incumbents. I've taken out 2 of the toughest Democratic incumbents in my home state where I'm from, Connecticut's history. I also believe that I have the firmest grasp on the federal issues, especially economic and health care issues. I believe that Congress has to get its arms around this cancerous bureaucracy and rein in unsustainable entitlements, employee salaries, and benefits. Here's an idea. How about eliminating congressional pensions and put them under Social Security like the rest of us? Look, I have a history of working with Democrats. I get things done because I try to be reasonable and rational. Most importantly, I hope you will agree that I will be able to wrap Obamacare around Murphy's neck and not let go until he's back in Colorado. And if you're listening, Patrick, in Colorado, you have the added advantage of truly being able to call yourself a moderate. After all, everything's relative.
Thank you, Alan. Nobody can go to politics today and accept what's going today in the country without sense of humor. So I'm normal. Number 1, why I am different. Just listen to me, and you will understand that I have Chicago accent, but different from Obama. I started as professor in Chicago. Most important thing that I'm expert in preventing of socialism plague. And socialism is coming, already come to America, and we have to fight. And today, if I will be in Congress, my first speech on any topics will be finished the same way. Barack Hussein Obama, for his crimes against Constitution and American people, must be immediately impeached, period. I have nothing to lose. I will go, I'm 78 young. I will go to see God and report what I did. I'm not looking for election and re-election. But I have a small difference. I will offer to give free contraceptives to Democrats to stop their propagation. Thank you.
Ellen Andel.
We all agree that our country is headed in the wrong direction, but we can't govern and change this direction unless we get elected. And we can't get elected unless we are smart, and we beat the Democrats at their own game. Nobody knows this game better and knows what it will take to beat Murphy than the man who ran against Murphy. And that is why Alan West has endorsed me in this primary. Congressman West said that he believes I am Mrs. Smith that we can send to Washington. He said people aren't looking for any more fancy politicians. They're looking for people that can go and reflect their values. One of my opponents told a reporter that while I was busy developing my legs, he was busy developing his brain. I didn't take offense, because I did earn a civil engineering degree from Princeton, so I might have spent just a little bit of time developing my brain. But I talk about my athletics because I believe it shows my determination, perseverance, and dedication to achieving a goal. I ran the hurdles in high school and college, and a few years ago, I decided to compete again. I trained for hours a day, for weeks and months, and it all came down to one 10-second race in the national championship in the 60-meter hurdles. As I towed the starting line with intense mental focus, the only thing that separated me from a gold medal was my will to win, and I did. I also competed in a half Ironman triathlon, where I had to dig deep within my core to find the determination and the fortitude to swim, bike, and run for 6 continuous hours, with no one but myself upon which to rely to cross the finish line. Vince Lombardi said, "The will to win and the will to excel, these are the things that endure, and these are the qualities that are so much more important than any of the events that occasion them. There's only one way to succeed in anything, and that is to give it everything. That is what I have done to win in sports, and that is what I will do to win this race for Congress."
All right, 1-minute closing statements from all candidates. Same order, please. Calvin first.
Thank you. I thank you all for coming out this afternoon, and thank you for hosting this event. I have one question for you in the closing statement. Who do you think Patrick Murphy fares the most seeing in the general election? Who do you think the Democrats fare the most in the general election coming up? They know that Patrick Murphy cannot defeat me. He's a pretty boy. He has some swag, but I'm from the University of Miami. I got swag too. Okay? So, Patrick Murphy, I'm coming for you. Dig deep. It's going to be a hard-fought race, but I have full confidence that I am the one candidate that he fares to see in the general election. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Carl Domino.
Thank you so much. You know, in campaigns, we tend to talk about the things that are wrong. We should think about the things that are right. As many of you know, a few years ago, for some idiotic reason, I chose to go back to college, and I'm now in my 3rd year of law school. In addition to the 20 to 30-year-olds that I talk to every day, as many of you know, I have 14-year-old twins, and I often go to Benjamin School or Bach to give talks. I cannot be more enthusiastic about the future of America when I spend time with our young people. In law school, it's particularly interesting because I see children or adults now, young adults, transition from their first year, where dad was paying the tuition, to their 3rd year, when they were going to have to start earning some living. And I'm no longer in my third year alone arguing with the liberal professors up there. There's some support for me. You know, America creates 30 drugs a year, more than any other country in the world, that are saving lives. American companies are the best positioned with their management to take advantage of the growing world economies. This is about the future of America. This is about retaining the American dream. I will work hard to make sure those goals are accomplished. Thank you.
Once again, thanks again, Rick, and the committee, and all of the club for hosting this event. Listen, I don't want anyone here to be discouraged. Rick Scott is a wonderful governor, and we're going to re-elect him this year. Think of 2014 as a new beginning. You know, it seems trite to say that this is the most important election of your life. But in the past, most of the differences that we've had have been about policies with the Democrats. This year, we're fighting actually about what form of government do we want in the United States. That's what's so different and what's so unique about 2014. America has not gone mad. We have just been hijacked by a minority of people who like free stuff, a president who smoked a little too much weed in college, and a mainstream media that for the last I'll tell you, the last 50 years has been pushing the socialist that they like to call now progressive agenda. I'm here to tell you that the majority of Americans are good, hardworking people that will reject this nonsense. And with your help, I'll be the best darn congressman you ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, this nightmare ends in November. Thank you. Lady Katz.
I'm not running for your house. I'm mostly running to be heard and respect and understand and taken seriously with my unique life experience and knowledge. I don't want to fight only with Patrick Murphy. I will fight with urbanism, and I show the road to serfdom will bring our great country. I am representative of coalition, we the people. I hope I can raise serious issue and find answer. We supposed to understand that our country in difficult situation. Our country could be tomorrow not our motherland also, but country of foreign land, divided state of the socialist banana republic. Because it's not working. God bless America, country we love. Stay behind doors and I must go. Together with me. Well, I'm not Caruso.
Everybody, our mics are bad, so if you would just listen up a little bit.
I'm very concerned, I have two daughters, and I'm very concerned about the direction our country is headed. My husband was born in communist Czechoslovakia. He knows what life is like when the government controls the lives of its citizens. He too is very concerned about the direction our country is headed. We must stay vigilant to protect our rights and our freedoms. When you look at the lies and deceit coming out of Washington, when you look at the House and the Senate that pass rules that apply to us but not to them, now is the time to stand up and make a change. Now is the time for new leadership. I'm motivated by a simple maxim put forth by Plato, who said, one of the penalties of not participating in the political process is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. It has been an honor to address you this afternoon. You are in District 18. I ask not simply for your vote, but for your trust and your support. and I ask for the privilege to be your voice and represent you in Congress. Thank you.
Everybody, one hand for our candidates. This is couple things, everybody. Candidates that are well-intentioned and are doing these things for selfless reasons, it's a very tough task to run for office. These people are doing a great service. They believe in something. And I said it earlier, the single defining question in this race is, do we believe that we need more government to solve problems for us? Do we fundamentally believe that private people working together, left on their own, free of government control, can work for something that promotes individual freedoms, creates jobs, and pushes all of the things we believe in to increase freedom for all of us? That's the question that everybody is going to have to answer in this race, and there is absolutely no room on the sidelines. Whichever candidate you support, I encourage you to support. Get involved. We are going to have a representative for District 18, and we need to participate to decide who it's going to be. So whoever it is, get involved. Lincoln Day. Sue, what am I supposed to announce about Lincoln? Oh, I think I already did, but Lincoln Day, February 21st. Great. It was on here, I promise. It's on your agenda. But if we want to sit together, our club is trying to put together some tables. You're welcome to sit with us. Coordinate it through Claire or Sue or me. We'll make it happen. Usually there's a bucket in the middle of your table for scholarships. We forgot the buckets today. So if you would, save whatever you were going to contribute and put it in next time for us. That's for the Ann Roberts Memorial Scholarship. That's our annual kind of big fundraiser for the year. That's what we raise our money for.
Real quick on, I don't mean to interrupt,
No.
but I am the head of the tribute to Aunt Fran Hancock. We have got a beautiful publication that's going to be coming out for Lincoln Day. So please, any of you that have businesses or whatever, it's really inexpensive to advertise, or if you just want to give a tribute to Fran Hancock, please see me. Thank you so much.
Everybody knows Fran and how much she does for us, so well deserved. We've got some giveaways, but we're going to do those next time because we're tight on time. So thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you in February. We'll see you at Lincoln Day.